Hello, my name is Carly Kidwell. I'm from the University of St. Augustine's Master of Occupational Therapy program. To begin, my PICO statement is as follows. In clients who have suffered a brain injury, what is the effect of cognitive didactic versus functional experimental interventions on functional improvement? Well, first off, I just want to quickly define cognitive didactic therapy and functional experimental therapy. Well, to put it simply, cognitive didactic therapy emphasizes the explicit learning in an environment permitting and even encouraging errors to assist the clients to develop cognitive self-awareness. On the other hand, functional experimental therapy does not entail the explicit awareness or learning, but rather emphasizes motor and other forms of implicit learning. It really emphasizes an errorless learning paradigm to enhance procedural learning mechanisms with an added environmental support to help the brain-injured individuals compensate for their impaired abilities. So as far as summary of search, there was an unusual lack of literature that I did not expect, and finding keywords to narrow my search proved to be troublesome as well. That is not to say there was not sufficient literature on neurorehabilitation following brain injury, but rather a lack of evidence supporting one type of therapy in comparison to another. Many articles I came across were dated. They were more than 5, 6, 7 years old, and they were not really pertaining to my specific PICO statement. Also, a large portion of the articles were in regards to military personnel, whereas I was focusing on the population at large, regardless of their prior occupation. I do believe that scanning the references at the end of the articles proved to be helpful in kind of guiding me along the way. Also, many articles focused on social reintegration and not so much on the goal attainment, unless that was their specified goal, for the client. Unfortunately, one of the articles I focused on that I thought was going to be really great was poorly executed and showed little evidence in their chosen treatment protocols. I do believe, however, with further research, more evidence can be obtained pertaining to functional recovery following a brain injury and the treatment protocols that yield the most promising results. As far as implications for practice education and future research, with the various treatment protocols available following a brain injury, be it a traumatic brain injury, a CVA, multiple sclerosis, etc., it is imperative that the clinicians approach each client with a unique perspective. It is the goal of the therapist to help their clients return to prior level of functioning or as close to it as possible and achieve that optimal occupational performance and success across all areas, environments, and settings. With stroke and brain injury being so prevalent, it is becoming increasingly more critical to find these effective and evidence-based rehabilitation intervention strategies to help each client reach their optimal recovery. Unfortunately, as of right now, overall, the evidence does not suggest one form of therapy over another. Each article presented with its obvious limitations. The first article I looked at had a mostly male population and was only looking at active and retired military personnel. The second article I focused on was poorly executed and implemented on behalf of the clients and the therapist. And the third article failed to have any follow-up measures to observe any of these long-term effects. But one thing was consistent throughout the research, and that is that early and rigorous intervention was the key. Results from the UTAM 2015 study showed that graded motor imagery, or GMI, in conjunction with conventional treatment, conventional PT, OT, speech, proved to be an effective tool for enhancing upper extremity functional movement following a stroke. This was made evident in the research and worked on the principle of perception, perceptual recognition, and imagined movement, which led to the activation of the cortical motor networks, even without the execution of movement of the affected limb. But further research needs to be done concerning effective intervention strategies here, as well as the dosage for such protocols. From the CAT paper I selected, from the research that was gathered by the authors, the evidence supports that using goal-directed therapy improves the perception of satisfaction and performance, regardless of the treatment context following a brain injury. There was strong evidence from 2 level 1 randomized controlled trials to support the use of goal-directed interventions in outpatient settings to improve self-ratings with performance and satisfaction. And there was moderate evidence from 1 level 1 randomized controlled trials to support the use of individual occupation-based supports and combined group supports to improve performance, self-ratings on the COPM as well. Just to wrap things up, it is clear that more research needs to be done to find the best treatment protocols for those having suffered and are now living with brain injuries, because the evidence just isn't there right now. So once again, I'm Carly Kidwell, and thank you so much for your time.